We are here, guys. Guess what? We got another special guest, and it's another special day. It is Friday. You know we don't be here on Friday, but guess what? Special. We are going to bring something to you to be encouraging to you in your spirit in your weekend. And guess what, guys? Welcome to another episode from the Battle to the Glory. Yes, we are here. We have a wonderful guest for today. And let me introduce Lady T, our co-host, and our special guest for the evening, Sandy Best Life Jones. She is the host of, I gotta see this guy because I didn't see this before. This is something good. I like this. The host of the Girl Talk Sunday podcast. And listen, I saw some of her work. Listen, she got something great over there. But before we get into all that, guys, we're gonna let her tell us a little bit about herself so she can break it down. Hey, listen, guys, it's the weekend. Let's get ready, get comfortable, get your coffee, get your tea, get your energy drink, get ready because it's about to be a blast up in here. Oh, take it away for us, Sandy. Sandy, don't tell me she froze.
So you're going
Sandy.
in and out.
You're going in and out.
I don't know if you can hear it.
Yeah,
maybe it is. I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. Take it away.
Yeah, you're going in and out on my end. But it might be me. But anyway, I'm Sandy Best Life Jones. I am the host of the Girl Talk Sunday podcast and Fridays by the Fire with Sandy Best Life Jones. And I created these platforms to help women own their worth, walk in their purpose, and give God their yes. And Girl Talk Sunday is 5 years old this month. This month. And Fridays by the Fire is a year old this month. So this is something that God gave me to help me kind of teach the lessons that I've learned about honoring, owning, and walking in your worth. And I'm so grateful for the divine download. I believe that God has used me mightily to help women understand that just because you are a woman of faith, that doesn't mean that you don't have worth. You are worthy just for the fact that you are a daughter of the King. That's what makes you worthy.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything extra. You don't have to turn no flips. You just are who you are, and God created you to be who you are. And because of that, you are worthy. And so that's my message on my show. In my day job, I'm a social worker for the state of Washington. I'm also a licensed missionary in the Church of God in Christ. And I am a mother of 2 and a grandmother of 3. And I am someone that has gone through the fire, and I came out a little smoky. But I'm all right. So I like to pass that message along. The other women who are entering the fire, already in the fire, or coming out of the fire. I'm here to tell you that you can survive anything if you put your God and you do exactly what he tells you to do. You will be all right.
That's right.
All right, y'all heard it straight from Sandy, and guess what? It's about to be going on up in here. Woo! I feel it already, y'all. I don't know about y'all. Listen, right, get in your seat, get ready, because here we come. Listen, so today's topic is, wow, man, listen, how to love difficult people. So, Sandy, we're gonna start right with you. Let's dive right into this. How to love.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say like, I didn't say be nice. I said love difficult people. So tell us, how do you do it? How do you love difficult people?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a delay.
Yeah.
Am I back?
Yes, you back.
Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay. All right. So this is very interesting. I know that this is a God thing because I just did a show about this about a month ago. And my show was called How to Love from a Distance. And I had one of my really good friends, Dr. Patricia Lott, who is a clinical psychologist. She came on the show to talk about what it looks like to have boundaries in relationships. and why it's so important to have boundaries in relationships. And I think sometimes as women of faith, we get confused about how we should allow ourselves to be treated. I think sometimes we think that we just have to let people say anything and do anything because we are Christian women and the Bible tells us to love everyone. But I also believe that, yes, love is a commandment, but access is a privilege. And so everybody does not deserve access to you. Doesn't mean you don't love them. It just means that you recognize they may not be adding any type of positivity to your life. And so you have to limit your interactions with that person while you love them and pray for them. And that was the premise of my show. And I think we can bring that premise over here too for this topic as well. I think sometimes we Christians get this, we're labeled. People think that we are, it's okay to walk all over us because we love, real Christians. We understand the commandment to love our neighbor as ourselves. And so sometimes people overuse that and we end up being mistreated and not treated with respect and with honor. And there's a way to combat that. There is a way to push back on that and still love the person. Some people are wounded. Some people are injured. And then some people benefit from the dysfunction that they bring to your life. So you have to be able to discern which one it is. Even wounded people, even injured people don't deserve full access to you, especially when they have demonstrated to you that they do not know how to honor you and respect you. So I teach boundaries. I teach standards. I teach having a personal code of conduct for your life that says, once you show me who you are, I'm going to believe you the first time because you know you better than I do. And then I'm going to govern myself accordingly. And so I do have some notes that I brought with me because I want to always anchor what I say in the scripture. I want to make sure that what I'm saying lines up with what the word of God says. And so I put some notes together. In Proverbs 4:23, it says, guard your heart with all diligence. So even Jesus loved people deeply, but he still withdrew from certain environments and from certain people regularly. He loved Judas, but he didn't pretend that Judas wasn't safe. Jesus knew that Judas was going to betray him.
Right.
So, he didn't over spiritualize that fact. He knew that. He knew what was coming. And so we have to be the same way. The Bible tells us to be wise as a serpent. But what?
Gentle as a dove.
What did it say? Exactly. So we got to use wisdom. Yeah, we got to use wisdom, ladies. We are dealing with certain people in certain situations that are not God's best for us. And sometimes we don't know up front. Sometimes it takes us a little while to really see what is actually happening. But once God reveals that to you, it's your responsibility to guard your own heart and protect your peace. And the number one way to do that, I believe, is with boundaries and standards for your life. So I know, boundaries are, to me, boundaries are a source of clarity. Even God has boundaries when he talks about you reap what you sow. He talks about obedience and consequences. He talks about wisdom and correction. In Matthew 5:37, he says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Even God, has his own boundaries. So why would we not have boundaries? Why would we be Christians without borders? That doesn't make very much sense. And remember, you can love people and still set the standard for your life. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It means that you love you too. Mm-hmm. And when you think about, you hear the scripture that says, love your neighbor as yourself, you can see that love has to originate with you before your neighbor can experience that love. If you don't love you, your neighbor cannot experience love from you. If you don't respect you, your neighbor cannot experience respect from you. So the love has to start with you. So when you hear people saying self-love is selfish, no, it's not. It's actually what God is saying to you when he says love your neighbor as yourself. If you're not abusing yourself, you should not be abusive to your neighbors.
Right.
So you got to put that in context, and you got to think about that when you think about how you are being treated and how you are treating others.
Yeah.
Let me see what my notes say. Uh-oh. That it's important to, well, I want to give you an example. I had an auntie who was addicted to crack cocaine for many, many years. And from the time I was like a little kid, maybe 12, until I was way, way grown. And as she got older, her behavior became more and more erratic. And pretty much everybody in our family had washed their hands of her but me. I just felt like I needed to do everything that I could to try to help her. Now, this is before I knew what boundaries and standards were. All I knew was this is the auntie that named me. Her name was Sandra. I'm Lysandra. And so I was her namesake. She's my dad's baby sister. Before my dad passed away, I promised him that I would do everything that I could to look after her and take care of her. And I took that promise seriously. And so it didn't matter what auntie did. I was going to try to be there for auntie. And I would find myself out on the streets where I lived searching for her because, of course, she was homeless, in and out of jail, in and out of mental hospitals. The drug addiction had turned into a mental health concern, too. And I was allowing her to come and stay in my home. And, you know, she would just do stuff, off the wall stuff. And my kids would be seeing her. And my husband at the time was like, listen, auntie's acting a little strange. She may not be able to stay tonight, but I was insistent. And we used to call her BB. She was my auntie BB. And I was insistent that auntie BB could stay. Anytime she needed to, she would come, she would bathe, she would get herself together. I had clothes at my house for her. I was just doing everything that I could. But there came a point where her behavior was just too unpredictable. And there were a lot of times that she was doing things and she didn't even realize she was doing it. And I remember having a conversation with one of my mentors. And I asked her, you know, what can I do about this situation with Auntie BB? It's weighing heavily on my heart. The addiction is getting worse. The mental illness is getting worse. What can I do? And my mentor said to me, the best thing you can do for Auntie BB, the best way you can help Auntie BB is to stop helping Auntie BB. You need to get out of the way and let Auntie BB have her own experience with God. You are not God, and you are in the way. And when she said that to me, I thought, but if I take my hands off and I move out of the way, something might happen to her. I don't want anything to happen to her. And my mentor said, what needs to happen is going to happen when you get out of the way, because God is in control of this situation, not you. And I'm telling you, within 3 or 4 months after that conversation, Auntie BB called me and she said, niece, I want to go to church. I said, okay, you know, you want to go to church, we going to church. I ain't gonna never tell you can't go to church. So she got put her makeup on, did her hair, and we went to church. And I remember as we were walking into the church, she was holding my hand, and she gave her life to the Lord that day. And I was so happy. And I just stood in awe of God. I stood in awe of God and how he showed up so fast in her life. That was the best day. We had dinner afterwards. She slept all day, the rest of the day into the next day. She was so tired. And she woke up and she left. And about maybe a month or two, After that, I got a phone call at work from the county coroner's office, letting me know that they had found Auntie BB and that she had passed away outside on the street. She actually froze outside and she was gone. And I don't think I would have been able to handle her death had I not done what my mentor instructed me to do and got out of the way so that God could have his way in Auntie BB's life, so that she could give her life back to him. And so it was time for her to go once she gave her life back to God. And ever since that day, that was 2010, ever since that moment, that day, I understand that I am not God. I am a vessel that God uses to give messages to people, but I'm not God. I can't do the transformation. Only God can do that. And so I make sure that I don't get away doing because my flesh is out of me. It's the same thing that we're talking about when we talk about loving difficult people. You can love people from a distance. You know, the proximity does not necessarily have to be there. But as long as that love is genuine and you are genuinely praying for that person, those prayers will get to them. That love will get to them. And then whatever God wants to do as he begins to move in their life, then that's what he will do. But you do your part and then you have to let it go. And sometimes it's our children.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's our parents. Sometimes it's a really good friend, a friend that we've had for a long time. Sometimes it's a husband. Sometimes it's your significant other, that maybe somebody you're dating that you love, and you just can't see yourself walking away from that person. But sometimes walking away is the only answer to this situation that is disrupting and disturbing your peace, and you have to be willing to do that.
Yes.
Wow, that was a woo, ladies.
Loved it.
This is Rodney Glover. He's the host of Dad Mentality. He's running a couple of minutes late, but he's always here with us as well.
Yes.
And Rodney, this is Sandy. She is, as you can
How you
see,
doing,
she's
Sandy?
on
Best
fire.
Life Jones.
Yes,
Rodney.
Best Life Jones. Yes, I
How
can't
you
forget
doing?
that. Woo.
Nice.
Lady, go ahead, tell us.
nice to meet
Okay, let me jump in. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Sandy, for your example. I want to say I love hearing about your podcast and your purpose and your mission and what you're doing for women, because I do speak on the worth that women do not know their worth in Christ, in God, and who they are as a child of God. So to know that you are out there putting that message for all women to hear, I love it. I encourage it. So I will definitely check you out. Your example is something and you mentioned about boundaries and how you got into your story. The boundaries is definitely something a lot of women and men, everybody, somewhat lacks in our lives. And that is something that is very important for us to see, because if we're loving somebody without boundaries, it can become self-betrayal. It can really, put us in a place where we're betraying our own self and not knowing how to let God, as you mentioned in your example. So I applaud you, because you did hear, the advice of knowing when to let go, because we don't know what God has for everybody. But you did your part. That's what I'm looking at it as. You loved her so much in a way where you showed her so much love and compassion and kindness, that you opened up your heart and your home to her. So the love was shown. But then you have to, we as people, we do need to step back and let God, let go of the situation of showing so much love, that we let God, intervene and show the rest of the way. And it's a beautiful thing
Mhm.
when you really are loving genuinely from the heart. And from your story, it really did
Mhm.
feel like it was. So I love your example. I'm definitely going to check you out. So I don't want you, I have to say it now because I love your purpose and your mission.
Thank
Okay. Hey, Rodney.
What's up, Lady T? Y'all
Rodney, so
know,
since you came a little late, we got you. Don't worry.
and I
How
want to
how was your?
definitely apologize. Yeah,
Don't
no,
worry, I mean, yeah,
You
tell us.
here.
I'll just say real quick,
Yeah.
I forgot about. I literally made all the jokes about the time, and then sure enough, my wife sent me a text message asking me to do a bunch of things, and I was like, sure, I'll take care of it, and I had forgot all about the time until I got home, and I was like, I felt like I'm supposed to be doing something. I was like, so but I'm glad I made it, because I was like, oh, I'm late. I might as well not get on. But now God told me to jump on here. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and jump on. And I heard quite a bit of your story, and, it's definitely something great. You want me to go into the topic, or what you want me to do?
Tell us how your week go. How was your week? And
My week was great. I worked, man. I worked, made this money. I got my car back. So
Okay.
I'm happy about that. That was one of the things I had to get done. But today I got my baby back, and she looks just as beautiful as ever. My wife, when it snowed, ran it into a snowbank, so I had to go and get it fixed. So I'm happy about that, and just the blessings have been great this week. Like I said, I just see what God has for me, and I just got to keep on working in that direction. I know as long as I'm working in the direction and doing the things that God is telling me to do, it don't matter about everything else. Everything else is minutia. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying not to make my minors into majors. That's the the thing I keep on saying to myself when something pops up. I'm not going to turn this minor into a major. You know what I'm saying? My kids are healthy. Everybody's doing good. My wife is still beautiful. Hey, what's the rest? The rest is just minors. You know what I'm
Still
saying?
beautiful.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah. What do you mean?
Watch
I
out
did
now.
Still
smile at that
beautiful,
one.
bruh.
Don't be
Still
saying
beautiful,
that.
man.
I got.
What do you
Hey,
mean? Why shouldn't I say it?
She
She
gonna
my wife.
always be beautiful. Don't say
Yeah.
still beautiful. What you mean still? Watch out
Once again, you trying to make a minor into a
That's right.
major.
Hey, Sandy, hold on, Sandy.
I gave my wife a compliment, and somehow you're trying to twist it to make it seem like it wasn't a compliment. It's a compliment. So let's just leave it at that, sir. I know you don't. I know you don't usually receive compliments or give them, so you probably don't know how they
So
work.
all you had to say, she is beautiful. That's it. She's still beautiful. What
He
that
had to
mean?
add that.
Yeah, he got to
add
add
it.
still. What?
It
See,
was
my wife
him.
is so beautiful. Oh, okay, I'm done. I
He
know
had to
Sandy know
correct
what I'm
you,
talking about.
Rodney.
I
You
know
know how
Sandy
he
know
likes
what
to.
I'm talking about.
He like to correct you, Rodney.
Once again, I will not let minors become majors. So let's keep it moving.
Mhm.
Let's keep it moving. See, since we're talking about loving difficult people, and we got Chef Dennis here, you know, I am thankful. So I'm gonna say something thankful because we had this topic, and y'all know my story about my nephew. My nephew is graduating from high school on June 8th, and I am June 12th, sorry, and I am excited to go. I'm going to be there. I'm going to support him. I'm going to do that. Just to give you the quick backstory on my nephew, I adopted my nephew in, what was that? Probably, I don't know. I can't even probably think 2022. I adopted my nephew and my niece. My niece was autistic. She was 1.5 years old. My nephew was 16. So both the same mother. She had got into some trouble. I didn't want them to go into the system, so I adopted him and took care of him while she was, taking care of the things that she needs to take care of. During that time, I was doing what God told me to do. God kept on telling me I wouldn't see the fruit. I didn't understand that. I'm like, what do you mean, God? I got him. My 16 at the time when I got him, he wasn't in school. He wasn't, running the streets, was doing whatever he wanted to do. So, when I got him in school. He started doing good. He had a 3.3 GPA. He was going to graduate that year. Everything was looking good, but God kept on telling me, you won't see the fruit. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm getting ready to take him to go get fitted for prom. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean I'm not going to see the fruit? But I was like, but I even told my wife, I was like, I don't know why God keeps on saying I won't see the fruit. So needless to say, long story short, in December, my house was raided. He was arrested. He was arrested for robbery. Long story short, I get him out, but then I had to do the boundaries because my house was raided. And I'm gonna show you how God works because there's a few things to let you know how God works. The day before my house get raided, my son's best friend's mother calls and goes, "Can Jonathan come over and spend the night?" And out of the blue, nothing unusual. She just called out of the blue. It was like, "Can Jonathan come spend the night?" And we was like, "Sure." She was like, "I'll come pick him up." She made it easy. So she came, picked him up. She was like, his best friend wants to play. Cool, whatever. So, and the next day my house was raided. My son was not here. You know what I'm saying? That was one of the blessings that let me know. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just out of the blue that he was going over his friend's house. It's not something that he normally did. So anyway, he got raided. Then he went to jail. I made him turn himself in. He went to jail, and I then got a lawyer. I ended up getting him out. He did 6 months, but I got him out. He's on probation. But when I got him out, God told me I could not abandon him. I could not let him go. And my wife was like, "That's it. He's not allowed in the house. He's not allowed. I don't even want to see him again." You know what I'm saying? My wife was extremely upset. If your house was raided because of someone, you would be upset too. I'm talking about full out raid. This was a SWAT team. They had the shield. Everything came in. But luckily, by the hand of God, I answered the door, and I told him that I was like, "Look, I'm gonna let y'all in, but y'all gonna have to put the guns down." And typically, I don't think cops do that, but I swear I felt God make them lower all their guns. You know what I'm saying? Like they just lowered all their guns, and I was like, "All right, look, whoever you're looking for is not here. I got 3 kids in here because my other nieces and nephews were here. My niece had got out of jail when this happened too, so she was in my house. And I was like, I got 4 women in my house and 3 babies. You know what I'm saying? Like I need, I understand y'all here to do a job. That's cool. And they calmly did it. It was, definitely as best as it could have been. But anyway, long story short, God told me I couldn't abandon them. And my wife was like, "No, he's not allowed in the house. I don't even want him on the same street as me." You know what I'm saying? Because he did he robbed the gun store, or allegedly, where he committed guilty. So he robbed it. You know what I'm saying? While he was living in my house on Christmas Day. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, long story short, but God told me I couldn't forgive him. So, but I do love him from afar. But I've told him and I said, "Look, man, I showed you a different life while you were living here. While he was living here, it was a different life for him." You know what I'm saying? And I was like, "I showed you a different life. If you want that life, then I'm here. But but you can't be 1 foot in the streets, 1 foot in his life." So, but God always told me to keep my door open. My door is still open to him. I love him with all my heart. I'm going to watch him graduate on the 12th. I'm excited that he at least still got that done. That was something that, he promised me he would get done. So he at least still got that done. I'm excited, but it is very tough to love someone with all your heart and know that they're not doing right. You know what I'm saying? And know that they're not doing right, and you still have to love them. Because the easy thing would have been for me to abandon him. That would have been easier. My wife would have been happy. You know what I'm saying? She later turned, God did later change her heart. So I do want to say that. God did later change her heart. But in that moment, there was, for one point in time, it was me or him. She was standing at my door, but I told her to pray. I prayed with her, and we prayed, and God did soften her heart. But it is very, very difficult. It is something to do. And I did want to bring this up and ask this to the panel because this is something that Philip Anthony Mitchell says. And he's like, if you really love someone and they're not doing right, pray them into the hands of the devil so that they will have to call on God. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was a little tough. I always kind of was like, yo, I don't know if should be that extreme. But I'm just curious to what y'all think about that. That philosophy is that, if that person is out on the streets, he was in his thing. He said, yeah, pray that they go to jail and their cellmate is a devout Christian. You know what I'm saying? Pray that they go to, that these things happen because God will make it happen. But I always felt that was a little more for me. I don't know if I could pray them into bad situations to make them come to God, but I want them to come to God. But I wanted to see what y'all thought about that aspect, because that is something that, Philip Anthony Mitchell does say. He's like, hey, that's what we should do as Christians. What do you think?
To be honest with you, no, I don't think so. Because if we go and be honest, and I mean, he's a great pastor too. I mean, I love his work. I love how he ministers as well. The one thing I would say is that, if we believe in our prayers, we can ask God to, change their heart, but allow God's will to be done. Because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. It's not about saying, pray them into the adversary's hand. It's about praying that God deliver them for whatever they're going through, and pray them out of that. And guess what? Because if it's God's will, they will come out in due time. And sometimes we won't see it. And so that's the most important thing, is praying that God will be done. Because if his will is going to be done, God loves everyone, right? But then now you got to remember, there are some people that do not desire God, and so God's will is going to be done. They're not going to see God. They're going to go to hell. But that's the most important thing, praying that God's will be done in their life. And whatever that will is, God is going to allow it to happen. And that's out of our control. It's in God's hands. And so, that's what I would say. That, I mean, definitely praying that God's will be done, even in my life or anybody's life that I'm praying for. Lord, let your will be done. Not mine, yours. And so that's what I would say about that. I mean, I don't. So now, Lady T, did you go? Did you go about how did you love
Sandy, I'll go last. Sandy, what would you like to say about it?
Oh, okay. About that comment.
My prayer for people. Yeah, my prayer for people in my life that I've had to distance myself from is that the will of a sovereign God will rest, rule, and abide in their life. That's my only prayer. Because God's will is what I want for my own life. So that's what I want for their life too.
Okay.
I like that. I definitely like that. I think that there is always a cost. Things cost us. Everything in life that we do in our actions going to cost us in some way or another. And we know that the word of God says, for the wages of sin is death. And death means that is an end to whatever, And so I think that when a preacher speaks like that, it is possibly the thoughts of some people that do feel that way, because they know God will. I mean, it's a cost. There, we have to pay a price. There is something, for the wages of sin is death, means that there's going to be an end. We don't know what that end is going to be and how the cost will look, but that it will be a cost. And so that is why I kind of understand what he's saying, because there are many people in the world that think like, hey, you ain't learning your lesson. You're going to have to learn the hard way. So pray that they learn the hard way, the right way, so that they come to God and pray. And so that is a mindset that many people do have. And I accept it. It's just not something I do for myself. It is something that in my prayers, I definitely think I do pray in a way where I'm like, God, bring them closer to you. But I do know in the back of my mind that there's going to be a cost to it. And so I don't want it to be in a destructive way. And so I don't speak those, I don't feel those words. I don't talk in that way because I'm not God. I don't know what exactly is going to happen for them in their salvation of how they are saved from their sins. And so I cannot say that. And I don't want to put my mouth on somebody else like that. I have a problem with doing that. And I won't even say it's a problem. I feel like it's a blessing, honestly, where I don't really like to say bad things about people because I don't know, because I don't know anything. And honestly, I don't want nobody to say bad things about me. So why would I do that to another person? I feel like humanity as a people, we need to learn how to have more compassion and love for one another. And I'm learning to do it myself. So don't get me wrong. But I'm looking at it as like if we learn as a people, together, learning how to stop looking at our prejudices and our, what we don't like about them and how we don't like, what they do, because we have a lot of racist thoughts and mindsets. We exclude one another because they don't look like us and act like us and do these things. If we stop doing that to one another and we truly have compassion and love for each other, we could be a different type of humanity. But until we get there, I feel that God wants us to show love, and the only way to show love means that you don't think ill of your neighbor. That's basically it. So I try my best not to, but I know a lot of people do. They feel the ill will to them and want to put the thoughts out there. Until we change that, I mean, we can become a better people. I know that was long. Sorry.
Hey, so I
like what you said, Lady T. I agree.
Okay.
I want to piggyback off Sandy. Sandy, and the reason why I say I want to piggyback off you is because boundaries are important. And I like how you said that because that's just how I do things. How do I love people? First, I give them an opportunity to be in my circle, and as well as me being in their circle. I get to learn them. I get to see how they act, how they respond, and like you said, they can lose access, and I still can show love to them. I still can be kind to them, show genuine love. Once they lose that access, there's a boundary. Now, the way they talk, the way they respond to me when they're upset, it's like for me, I don't deal with people that constantly curse at me. They can be in a conversation. And once everything out their mouth is a curse, it's like, okay, that's your vocabulary. I begin to say, okay, what is it that what does that relation revolve around? What is it about that person that I need in my life? Are they adding value or are they taking away? So it's for me, it's about adding value to myself and the people around me. Is always strengthening one another. They say iron sharpens iron. So everybody that's in that circle, are we sharpening each other? Are we helping each other? Are we adding? Are we putting something into our lives that's going to be valuable? The time that we spend together, is it valuable? Is it time spent well, or is it or is nonsense? You know what I'm saying? So those are the things that I do, and showing love to people. Now I'm in this space right now. It's always being kind. And like I said, I was telling the panel before that me opening doors and not looking for a thank you, because at the end of the day, it's not for them, it's for myself. It's for me to have a stronger heart posture for humanity, for the world. Even though I know they may, if the ones that don't say thank you and have a nice response, I'm okay with that because it's expected. And so I do it with the kindness of my heart. And just those little things like that, it teaches me how to navigate in this world and to read and understand people on a different level. And so that's how I love people, difficult people, just loving on them. And then once they cross that boundary and once they, do something that makes me say, okay, you know what, I know this person is out to get me upset, get me to that point where I get upset, get mad, may say something that I shouldn't say. So you know what? Now, guess what? I put that wall up. Now, okay. Hey, how you doing? Good morning. Have a blessed day. Or like I always say, or throw my gospel music on, and there you go. That's my weapon. Like I always say that. I keep saying that. Like I love to do that because guess what? The enemy don't like that. He doesn't like to hear nothing about God when it's true and genuine from your heart. So that's how I love difficult people. Just getting to know them first, because I'm a lovable person. I'm a hugger. So I like to hug everybody. But I've learned that everybody not ready to receive those hugs, because I want to be genuine. I want to be authentic. I don't want to be some old, how you doing, with this fake smile and this fake grin. Nah, I want to. Once I see that, then I already know that type of person. I see a fake smile, I'm like, okay. Next time I come around, it ain't gonna be no fake smile. It's gonna be like, hey, how you doing? I'm gonna really get engaged with that person. I'm gonna be really right up on them, like, how you doing? How was everything? Is everything great? Oh, wow. How's your kids? Don't even know nothing about the kids. You have any kids? I start getting it. And then some people, I really don't have, difficult time with people saying, oh, that's my business, or you stay out of my business. I don't really have that, because I feel like it's the way I approach them. You know what I mean? I get in the elevator. Ronnie know he always teasing me. I get in the elevator. You ain't going to be in the elevator with me and just quiet. Nah. How you doing? Is everything well? All righty then. Have a good day. Be blessed.
I still find that creepy.
Hey, I pray to God somebody get in the elevator with you and they be like, hey, how you doing, Rodney? And they don't even know you.
I'm going to put on my earbuds. I'll be like, look.
No, he wouldn't.
But yeah, I know, right?
Okay.
But that's how I deal with difficult people, Sandy. It's just being, because like you said earlier too, like Jesus did that. He knew he wanted to show love to everybody, right? But there were places, like you said, and at a specific time where he was going, where he was not going, because he already know. And the same thing as our walk and our journey, we have to know places, like you said, discernment. You got to know what places you should be in versus not, because the evil spirits are out there. And so when you go into a territory that you're not prepared for, know this, you're going to be in trouble. And you gotta seek out God's wisdom. You gotta seek out him to order your steps in the places that you should be versus the places you should not be. And that comes with your growth in your relationship with God.
Okay, let me jump in real quick.
Oh shucks, watch out now, y'all.
But
there's a but.
There's a but. There's going to be times when you are going to be in situations that are uncomfortable, and your growth comes with the cost of comfort. You're going to be uncomfortable. So the growth always usually comes with discomfort, and that is the cost. Your comfort is the cost. So being around people that you have to, I think of the people that talk a certain way. They're mean, they're not nice, but they're joking in a way, but they're really not. And they're being nasty about it, right? And they're being so nasty, like they just like laugh at it and be like, ha, ha, ha. But you know that they're loving, but they're just kind of mean. Those type of people, I'm going to be uncomfortable to deal with them, but I'm going to deal with them, because they want to be loved too. They just have a language that is different than mine. And I interpret it as mean. They may interpret it as just joking, but truth in it, and we have to learn how to come in the middle. We need to learn how to say, okay. Or even if that person doesn't want to meet you in the middle, you meet them all the way, right? Because you're uncomfortable in their space, and just say, okay, I got to deal with this growth opportunity that I could have, and just be uncomfortable and listen to your words, and all the words that you say makes me uncomfortable, but I'm going to just do my best to love you through it. That is growth. And that is something that I feel like I've been doing for several years, most of my life, dealing with people that have a word about them, their language communicates in a way where it's not always loving, but I have been able to, I'm kind of drawn to it. I ain't gonna lie.
You're drawn to it?
Drawn to those type of people where I've become that way.
Lady T loves me.
I've been drawn to those type of people because I can laugh. I laugh at it. I take light at heart with it.
But that's,
I enjoy it.
You almost named me exactly. I mean, but I'm one or the other. If I'm not making, but that's, I don't know, it's more cultural or how I grew up in my house. Like, if I'm not messing with you, then I don't like you.
Right.
Like, it's either,
yeah, and it's messing with a person.
It's either I'm messing with you or I don't talk to you at all. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't really have that thing. If I'm not making jokes with you or making jokes at you or something like that, like in my house, I told my son that his head was big for 3 years, just so that when he got to school and they told him his head was big, it wouldn't bother him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? His head was big. It was normally big for a baby.
Man, so you thought that was cool?
So you know, but hey, I mean, he an adult now, and we laugh at it, but yeah, you know, he said it. He said it himself. He was like, "Yeah, when I went to school, man, that didn't bother me at all. My dad said worse." I was like, y'all ain't hear what he said about me. But you know, it's just that I don't know, and I mean, it's something that I do. I'm not doing it maliciously though. It for me, it's my communication, like Lady T said. It's that's how I communicate love. I don't know why. I think because I was the baby and everybody picked on me. So that was my defense mechanism. I don't know. But I'm not saying it to be mean. Like, Chef Dennis, I mess with you all the time. You know I love you. Right. But I don't know why I said it on the air. I've been trying not to do that. But you know, you my boy, you know I love you and my boy. It's Friday, but on here, I ain't gonna sit here and tell you, oh, Chef Dennis, you're a great guy. Nah, man, you okay. I don't know why your wife with you, but that's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's how I speak. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna try to do better, but God only convicted me on that with my wife. I don't do that with my wife no more.
Roddy, you think you a difficult person?
I think I am a love me or hate me type guy.
I'm the same. Okay, I agree.
All right. So look, and then Sandy, you welcome to jump in.
Yeah, please jump in.
Jump in. Yeah. But so both of y'all said that, right? But if we walk in like Christ, right? Everybody should see the light in you.
I'm working.
No, I said
towards that, sir. I'm not there yet.
Okay.
I'm not. Not everybody, Chef Dennis.
No,
you all
bro,
from the throne looking down at us. Not all of us have developed that, Chef Dennis. We can't. Not all of us can be in an elevator and feel comfortable with talking to a random stranger. Because I promise you right now that. Unless I hear God himself be like, hey, give this person a word, I ain't saying nothing. I ain't saying hello. I go into the grocery store with headphones bigger than this on because I don't want people to talk to me.
All right, but Rodney, you got to understand one thing too, though. So listen, the person that gets in the elevator, like, look, seriously, the person that gets in the elevator and you are a man or woman of God, doesn't mean that you have to do this, but just think of this. There's 6 people that got into the elevator and nobody spoke, right? You can't be the same as them. If you stand for Christ, you cannot be the same. You got to be different than them. And being different, if 6 people got into the elevator and nobody spoke, you got to be different. You got to show your light. The light that's on the inside.
I don't know if my calling is in the elevator.
What you mean? No. Forget about the elevator. Forget about the elevator. I'm talking about it don't have to be in an elevator. It could be in a classroom. Guess what? You have to be different than them. If everybody can sit in a classroom and not speak, guess what? Your light that's on the inside, which is Christ, gotta be a beacon. So you got to be able to say, you know what? Hey, how everybody doing? My name is Rodney. And sit down. I just want to break the ice. Guess what? You different. Everybody that's sitting in the classroom, they may be Christians, but they may be scared. But guess what? You being the different one that, guess what? And interacting and say, hey, my name is Rodney Glover. I'm such and such. And guess what? You broke the ice and now everybody's talking. You're the one. You got to be the one. That's for me. I feel like every Christian should be like that. Because why? It's because guess what? We have to be different. We have to be a beacon of light. If we the beacon of light, guess what? We can't be sitting in the classroom, sitting in the elevator, not saying nothing.
I'm different in a different way.
I guess
that ain't my difference.
Sandy, what you think about that?
Wait.
Huh?
I think that there's a time and a place for everything. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think there's a time and a place for everything. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to enter a room silently, and your light can shine that way too. And then people are going to want to know who you are and why you are the way you are. People will come up to you and talk to you and ask you, I've never seen you before. What's your name? Who are you? They're intrigued by you because you walked in and you weren't the loudest in the room, but there was something different about you. So I think that every situation requires a different response. You don't always have to be on. Then you shouldn't always be off either. That's where discernment comes in, I think.
Right. There you go.
Yeah. I also wanted to go back to something Lady T said about.
Go ahead.
I wanted to go back to something Lady T said about consequences, because I believe that every decision we make creates a choice, and that choice has a consequence attached to it. So you don't have to sick the devil on people. Right. I'm not sure where that comes from, but the devil is not a German shepherd. God is not a German shepherd. You can't be sicking God on people either. I think that the scripture is clear. You reap what you sow. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you just need to, like I had to do on TV, I had to step back and I had to let life teach her the lessons that she needed to learn. And thank God that he was there to catch her as she fell. People fall because it's the fall that they need. They need to fall. And I learned that from Auntie Bibi. I learned that in my marriage. I was married for 28 years and I'm divorced now. When I got married, I married my 7th grade boyfriend, my only boyfriend. And we literally grew up together. So I met him at 13. We married at 25. We had our children. And I didn't know it meant to have a marriage should have boundaries. I didn't know that. Submit yourself to your husband. And I didn't understand what it meant to ask for what I want. I didn't know that I couldn't really get mad about not getting what I wanted because I wasn't willing to ask for what I wanted. I didn't know that I could command respect from my husband. I didn't know that. It took me going through some things in my marriage to realize and understand that. And now I know even marriages need boundaries. Every friendship needs rules of engagement. Every relationship, the person needs to understand that you have a standard that you live by. And we teach people how to love us and how to treat us based on the behavior that we accept from them. So you can't get mad at me for disrespecting you when you keep allowing me to have access to you as I disrespect you. You can't really get mad at me about that.
Right.
So I just believe that relationships should be built on an established rule of engagement that you have with this person that says, yes, I love you. If this is your wife or your husband, yes, I love you. But there are just certain ways that you cannot speak to me. There are certain ways that you cannot treat me just because I am your wife or just because I am your husband. The mere fact that I am your husband should come with a level of respect from you as my wife and that vice versa. And I don't think a lot of married couples conduct their marriages that way. And then that quiet resentment begins to build up. And you're angry with your wife or you're angry with your husband and they don't even know it because it's quietly simmering in you until that pot explodes and the lid flies off. When you can just sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah, the other thing is that relationships change and people change. I'm not the same person I was 20 years ago. So you have to read. Me and my wife call it redating. And we've recognized that through our years, we are not the same person. I can no longer bring a Snickers bar home and my wife is happy. You know what I'm saying? That was when we were dating in high school. High school, I used to bring her a Snickers bar and she was ecstatic. You know what I'm saying? Now I can no longer do that. That don't work. You know what I'm saying? So, but I mean, but you have to redate each other because I mean, let's get it all together. Just look at yourself. Are you the same person you was 5 years ago? 10 years ago, right. You know what I'm saying? The things that are important to you change. And you can also teach the person how to love you the wrong way. I learned that in my marriage, that I taught my wife the wrong way to love me because I wasn't vulnerable enough to let her know that. Because for me, it was always, for years, I always told her I come home, no, I'm good. I'll take care of it. I don't need anything. This, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And then I got older and I was like, well, how come I don't get nothing? You know what I'm saying? Like Father's Day, how come I don't got nothing for Father's Day? That was because for so many years, I told her I didn't want anything. Don't do nothing. You know, it's not important to me. Then later in life, it got important to me. You know what I'm saying? I started looking around like, you get all these gifts, where my gifts? You know what I'm saying? Where's my thing? But I also, you know, through therapy, which I tell everybody to get, I realized that was my fault. It was my fault that I was pretending to be Superman all the time. Everything to my wife, I was pretending to be Superman. So then later on, when I became Clark Kent, and I'm over here like, you know, she still expected me to come home and be Superman. She expected me to not now. Now I care. You know what I'm saying? Like now I'm like, hold on. I want to be acknowledged when I come home. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want this to happen. I want that to happen, you know, and you have to, and then the sad thing about it is we as people, we be quiet and we expect our significant other to just be able to read our mind. To understand that now I've changed. Now this is different. They expect we as humans just act like we said it, even though we didn't, only because we said it to ourselves. So, you know, it can also make it difficult for you to love for you. You can make it difficult for you to be loved. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not, you're not changing. One, you don't want to admit that you changed. And then you expect that person to just know it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I believe that a lot of miscommunication, that's why they always say communication is key. And they always say that dating is key. That was one thing that, you know, when people tell you, but I break it down even more when I talk to people about marriage and marriage classes. I tell them, I was like, because you've realized you've changed. Has your wife? Has your husband? You know what I'm saying? Because we're not going to realize it if you don't bring it to our attention. 9 times out of 10, you ain't going to realize it. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to say, you know, you have to openly say that is no longer important to me. This is. I'm coming into a time where these things are important, and you can't just tell them once and expect for them to remember. You know what I'm saying? You have to keep on. You have to figure it out. You have to figure out your own self, and then apply that and let them know and be in work towards that goal. But you got to be open and honest and for real. You know what I'm saying? Because it definitely happens. We're not the same person, and you know, things become different, even in your walk with Christ, and even as you get older and things like that. Certain things that was not important to you may be important to you now. You know, so anyway, that's all I had to say.
Very true. That's where the love languages come. Understanding each other's love language. Like you said, absolutely. Rodney, being vulnerable enough to express your needs is important too. I think that every marriage should have a period of evolution where you evolve individually and you evolve as a couple as well. Because like you said, you're not who you were 5 years ago. You're definitely not who you were 20 years ago. So absolutely. If your approach to issues that come with your marriage are approaches that you've been using for 20 years, you might need an update. Even a computer needs a reboot every now and then. So You just have to be mindful of that, and that's where the vulnerability comes in. You're able to speak to each other. You've taken the time to learn each other's love language. If your love language is physical touch, and your wife doesn't know that, you're not going to get what you need physically from her. Mm-hmm. So those are conversations that you need to have with each other.
Yeah, and I get definitely learned that, and I get into it because a lot of people think physical touch is just sex, and it's not. You know what I'm saying?
No,
it's not just sex. Yeah, sex is important. Don't get me wrong, but physical touch. Like I tell my wife every morning, I need a hug and kiss before you leave. Like I need when we're in the bed together. Mm-hmm. I need to feel you in the bed, like whether your arms on me, your hands on. Now I regret it because now I can't get her off.
Oh boy!
But but hey, don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me, Chef Dennis. You'll get to the point. You'll get to the point where you'll be okay about these things, Chef Dennis. It's all right. I understand.
Hey, no, Rodney. Yeah. Yo, I understand because look, listen, when I gotta go to bed, wifey go to sleep downstairs in the other room. All right, see you later. I'm going to sleep. So I get it. I know what you're talking about. But me, when it's time for me to go to bed, I'm going to bed. She go in the other room, go downstairs. I'll be like, good night, baby. Love you. I want you to come to bed, but if she don't come, more bed for me.
Oh nah, bro. Nah, I go sleep on the couch with her.
Oh no, more bed for me.
I gotta feel her in the bed, bro. She ain't in the bed. I used to not tell my wife, but I used to think she was mad at me if she didn't touch me in the bed when she was in the bed. That was just my whole thing. Like you said, my love language isn't her love language. So when she didn't touch me in the bed, I would wake up in the morning and be like, "You mad at me? Like, what's going on?" Like, and I'm reading into this because that's my language. You know what I'm saying? But I got to communicate that that's my language. Yeah, I'm weird. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Right. If you get out the bed and don't give me
take a little bit of truth.
Oh, she broke up.
I lose her?
She coming. She be
going in and out. Oh, there we go. We missed what you said. You said a little bit of something.
I was gonna say otherwise you take a little bit. You take a little bit of truth and let your imagination make up the rest.
Absolutely.
When you don't communicate, that's what happens.
Yeah.
When she get up and don't give me a kiss, I'm angry the whole day. I'm mad the whole day and she don't even know it. You know what I'm saying? I'm mad the whole day. How she gonna just leave and not give me a kiss? What's wrong with her? She with the nerve of her. Yeah, I made this all up in my mind. Ain't none of that happened.
Jesus.
Yeah, I used to be that guy. I ain't gonna lie. I used to be that guy. Man, let me tell you something. I'm so thankful for my wife, man. I was terrible. I was terrible. But I told her, I said, imagine if you had gave up before you got this version of me. You would be high. Some other woman got me. Oh, you'd be mad.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be mad. I said that to her on Mother's Day because I was cooking on. I was like, man, imagine if you had gave it, because she was having a bad day and having in her moment. And I was like, yeah. After the next day, she came to me and she was like, you know what? I'm sorry. I should have been grateful. And I was like, don't worry. I'd already forgiven you. I was like, but imagine if you had waited, if you had left me before I turned into this guy, because you would be hot, because I'm way better now. I can look at me and say I'm a way better man, husband, father, everything now.
Did you thank her for apologizing to you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Rodney?
Yeah. You're better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm a man. Let me tell you something. I say this every time. It's easy for a woman to follow a man who's following God. It's easy. It's that simple. I say it all the time. Just remember, and when Sandy said that you're supposed to respect your husband, women always forget that there's a part before the verse that says a man is to follow Christ.
Amen.
That's the first part. A man is to follow Christ. When God created marriage, it was the man follows Christ and the woman follows the man. The man is not the leader. God is the leader of my household. I follow him. My wife follows me. That's it. But if you're not following
you're the leader.
God,
you the leader.
No, God is the leader of my household. What part of that you don't understand? If you don't want to
But-
say that in your household, that's your
Hold up,
household.
hold up. I'm just
In
going by what
my
you said.
household, in my household, God is the leader. And
And he
I
left
follow
you
him.
as the shepherd. You the
I
shepherd.
follow him.
Okay.
That's
and
it.
you the shepherd.
I'm the shepherd over his sheep. They're
Oh,
not my sheep. Those
So
are
if
his
you
sheep.
wait a minute, if you the shepherd, what does the sheep do?
Are you listening to the words that are coming out of my
Oh,
mouth?
wait a minute. I don't Sandy, if he's a shepherd, what does the sheep do?
They follow the shepherd.
Well,
Is that what you want?
Oh, okay.
in
I'm
a
just
literal
But
sense,
I'm just trying to figure it out.
but also, sir, I have a shepherd.
I'm
And
just
to
trying
that
figure it
shepherd,
out.
I am a sheep.
I'm just
In
trying
the
to find
same
out.
sentence.
You the leader.
So no, sir. No, sir.
Yeah, you are.
No, sir.
I'm sorry to bust your bubble. You are. Because guess what?
Last time I
let
checked.
you not last
Okay,
time I
I'll
checked, let you not be let you not do the right thing by your wife
Mhm.
that you are led by God. I guarantee you God will punish you. Not your wife, you.
Nobody said that.
Okay,
What does that
so
have to do
you
with
are
anything?
the leader of your. Guess what? You have to steward your family
Yeah,
correctly.
and if my wife,
If you do
hold
not,
on,
in
time out,
stewardship,
time
you
out.
have to be the leader.
Okay, but if my wife doesn't follow God, does that make me a bad leader or her a bad
You
follower?
have
Which
to
one?
still. Guess what? You still have to lead. And guess what?
I
How
get
do you
that.
lead? Wait a minute. How do you lead? By an example. So your life, your walk is a living example.
Let me ask you something,
of
Chef.
Christ.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Who does my wife belong to?
Christ.
Exactly.
But guess what? You
Oh,
have an
Lord.
order. You have
Yeah.
an order that you're supposed
Yeah,
to do as
I'm
a
not
husband.
disagreeing with. Hold on. Didn't I say there was an order?
Oh, okay.
But the problem with your order is God is not the front of your order.
Nah.
God is the front of mine.
Why,
So
didn't
I don't
say
care.
that.
Hey, bro, you
You
did
said
also
you're not the leader.
didn't say it.
You're not the leader.
I'm not.
You are
They
the
go
leader.
through this all the time, Sandy.
God is standing.
You are the
yes.
leader.
What they do.
Don't try to
No, I'm
don't
not.
try to deny that. Don't try to
Sir,
deny
I
that.
follow God. I don't know about you
I follow God.
and your marriage.
I follow God.
Okay, we're cool.
Yeah.
Then why we talking then?
Oh, okay.
Because I ain't nothing wrong with what I'm saying. I follow God is the
Okay,
leader
so
of my
ladies,
household.
Mhm.
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Sandy.
all right.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Lady T, I'm gonna talk to you since they done
Oh,
got me on
Lord.
the show.
I
Actually,
love
said was what I said, Rodney, was
Go
that
ahead, Lady Sandy.
wives owe their husbands a level of respect and vice versa.
Okay.
That respect has to be mutual. The honor has to be mutual. The loyalty is mutual. The love is mutual. It's all mutual. So it needs to be reciprocated. It's not a one-sided thing. And sometimes the best way to show respect to your husband or your wife is to just listen
Mhm.
to what they have to say. It's not for you to fix anything. Sometimes you don't even need to have input. Sometimes she just wants you to hear her so she can get her thoughts out of her head and hear them for herself too. But she wants to bounce them off of you too. So it's not always about leadership is not always about you fixing things. Sometimes she just needs to know that when she needs to be heard, you are the biggest ear in the room.
Mhm.
So leadership is a lot of things. It's not always loud though. Sometimes
Like
that
Chef
quiet
Dennis.
strength means more. Just knowing that I can fall back and they're gonna catch me means more than any amount of gas you can put in a car. It means more than you taking out the trash. You know, just knowing that I can lean back and you're going to be there to catch me means more than anything else in a lot of ways. So you got to look at leadership as a multi-layered thing. It's not just one thing.
Right.
Okay.
It is.
That's what I said, Rodney.
I didn't say no. I just said that you didn't. But you said that women should respect their husbands. Yes, it is mutual. But the thing that I'm sorry, I'm on a tangent. That's all. I'm on my soapbox right now because I'm tired of people being like Chef Dennis and forgetting that it does not say we're the leader. It says, because they use that verse all the time, oh, men are to be the leader of their household and this, that, and that. No, it does not say that. It says that the husband is to follow Christ and the wife is to follow the husband. But the first thing it says is that the husband is to follow Christ. That is the first thing. But people, men or Chef Dennis, only wants to say, oh, my wife has to follow me. Hold on, bro. But you got to remember, you also have to follow Christ. You're not the leader. God is the head of your household. And he, for some reason, still wants to argue with me like that's a bad thing to have in your mindset. As long as I know that God is the head of my household and I'm following him, can I lose? No, I can't. It's actually impossible.
Okay,
it's
Ronnie.
actually impossible to lose. Let me finish talking, sir, and then you can make your point.
Yeah.
But it's actually impossible as long as I'm following God as him being the head of my household. It is impossible for me to lose because God is undefeated. If I take myself and follow what I think I should do without God, then I am going to lose. And that's how I look at it. Every day I follow God. My wife follows me. And guess what? I have a fantastic marriage. I have a fantastic marriage, and the marriages that I know that are also fantastic follow the same model. So whether or not Chef Dennis wants to follow, Chef Dennis wants to be the head. He wants to sit there on his throne as he walks into his house and be like, woman, dishes, woman, breakfast, whatever. I don't know what he does, but that's how I envision it. You know what I'm saying? But if that's what he wants to do, then that's fine. But no, I follow what God tells me to do. That's what I do. And that's the model that I follow. So if you want to call yourself the head of your household because you're not reading the scripture correctly, that's up to you. All right, I'm done.
You done? You done?
Yep,
Hey,
I'm done
Lady,
now.
is this the same brother of ours that says it is easy for a woman to follow a man that is following Christ? Did he not say that?
That's true.
Did he not say that, Lady T?
Yes.
So in order for a woman to follow a man that is led by God, she is following you, brother.
I never said she wasn't.
Okay, so somebody that's following you, you have to lead them in the right. You're getting the provision. Now I'm gonna get on you because you don't want to say it, but guess what? You are getting the right provision from God. That guess what? When God tell you to do something, you're going to be obedient, and your wife is going to follow you because you are following Christ. And as a follower of Christ, you have to follow him. And guess what? People will follow you, and you have to be the leader. And guess what?
No.
If you're not doing, listen, if you're not doing it correctly, you will be held accountable. Guess what? Your children have to look at you for an example. And if you are being a great example, they have a great example of what a leader or what a father is supposed to look like, what a man is supposed to look like. So guess what? You as a man, as a husband, as a father, you have to be a living example. And how do we get that example? From Christ. He will lead us, he will guide us, and he will give us the provision that we need to lead our family. And how does
your wife know that she should not be following you? I can tell you how, because you don't sound like God. If your wife, I tell my wife all the time, if I tell you something that does not sound like God, because you have a relationship with God yourself, you have your own relationship with God. So if I'm telling you something that does not sound like God, then I absolutely want you to question. That is exactly what I want you to do. Because God, I don't know if you ever went to school, but when you went to school, there was a line leader, and then people get up behind them. So yes, it's God, me, my wife, my kids, all in a line. God is my line leader, okay? Or maybe I got to bring a kindergarten for you. When they say line leader goes to the door of my household, God is first, then I get behind them, then my wife, then my kids. That's how it works for me. So therefore, I will never be the leader because I am standing behind God in this line. So I don't understand how you don't even comprehend that. You know, and if you want to carry your household where you go, I'm first, I'm the line leader, and then all of y'all get behind me. And then guess what? When your wife, here's the thing for me, when I'm in the line leader and when I'm behind, my wife is behind me, and God starts going this way and I'm going that way, I want her to say something to me. That's what I want. I want her to say, hey, that don't sound like God. What you're doing does not sound like God. Because my wife has a relationship with God also. So therefore, I can't discredit my wife's relationship with God either. So as long as I sound like God, that's how my wife, it makes it easy for her to follow me because I am following God and what I'm saying to her sounds like God. So there you go. I'm done. All right, ladies, let's go to something different.
Are you the covering? Are you the covering?
Oh God. Chef, don't go here no more.
Already went through the line leader exercise for you, sir. All right, Lady T, I'm good. I moved on. I want to talk about something else. Let's go back to the.
You don't want to talk about it.
No. I see how it's difficult. I pray. You know
what?
Like
two brothers.
I pray for Esther because I see how it's difficult to love difficult people sometimes. Go ahead. I'm moving on. Let's go, Sandy. I'm gonna go back to Sandy. Nah, Sandy. I mean.
Hey, Sandy, hold up.
Sandy, do you understand what I'm saying, Sandy? Do you understand what I'm saying, or you believe that Chef Dennis'
I'm gonna go to
philosophy?
I'm gonna go to Sandy. Now, check this out. Sandy, can you elaborate on that for us? Elaborate on that for us.
To me, it sounds like you're saying the same thing. You just have different leadership styles. But you're both saying God is the head of your household.
Yes.
And because
Chef Dennis ain't say that.
That's what it sounds like to me.
He said I'm the leader.
To emulate God.
You just don't want to say leader. That's what you don't want.
I didn't hear him say that.
Come on, man.
All right.
hey, Sandy, I'm sorry. This is how we do because he just want to listen. He just want me. He say, "Oh, he's sitting on this. I'm sitting on this high throne." No, bro. I ain't telling what I'm doing. It's not about me. It is not about Chef Dennis. It's never going to be. Listen, I want people to seek out God for themselves. I'm just here to encourage. That is it. I could listen. I am not God. I will never be God. So that is not my intent. It will never be my intent. I will never. Pride is something that will crumble my whole world. So I understand that. I know that. I'm not a prideful person, Rodney Glover. I'm going to get at you today, buddy.
Hold on.
Today's Friday.
I don't think you heard what you just said.
Bro, man, listen. God will bring me to, he has done it already, brought me to my knees. So guess what? I've walked that already. Where God said, oh, you don't want to listen? I take everything that I worked hard for. He said, oh, you don't want to acknowledge? Give me that. Brought me to my knees. Not beg and say, Lord, why? I didn't say, Lord, why? I said,
go to your next question, sir.
I wasn't deserving of the blessings that you have given me. So guess what? I walked through the storm.
You did this, Rodney. You opened this door.
Yes, he did. He did it. Sandy, listen. Sandy. That's my brother. I love him. Yes, he has opened up a can of worms. But no, let's all the serious note. Look, this is what we do. Listen, and I tell people this all the time, Sandy, is that in having conversations like this, it's always so serious that you can't have fun. No. It's got to be fun. It's got to be laughter, and it's not so much because it's nothing negative here. We don't do negative here. It's all positive, and it's about laughter. We having conversation, but laughter in the same time, and that's what it's about. It's not about just this guy, man. He always mess with me. I never really mess with. It's my turn now.
I don't. Sometimes I think you be making points.
I'm loving all this banter. I love it.
The banter is on all the time.
Lady T, I want to move on. I'm ready for the next question. What's up? Go ahead. Next question, Chef Dennis. Come on, man.
Oh, next question.
Yeah, let's move on. We already proved that I'm right, so let's move on.
Okay, you're right. You're right, sir. You're absolutely right, Sandy. But before we get out of here, though, look, we talked about we let
go.
It's Friday, buddy. And hey, you look? See, Sandy, look, he want me to get a beating. Not happening, Captain. She got. See, I'm okay. She got the whip. She ready to spank me.
I thought you was the leader. My bad.
No, I know how to stand in my place. I'm the husband, and I have to tend to the wife. Thank you. Is there something wrong with that? Is that something wrong with that, Sandy?
You're doing right.
Not at all. Not at all.
But no, Sandy, would you bless us with some words?
So
of
I
encouragement?
did write down. Yes, I wanted to share 5 action steps that your viewers can take to maybe make it a little bit easier for them to start loving difficult people. Can I share those with you?
Of course, that's what we want. That's what we want. That's what we want.
Okay. Okay, I want to give your people something that they can take away. So, number 1 is stop explaining every boundary. Boundaries are not a courtroom argument. Sometimes you saying I'm not available for that doesn't work for me, or just no with a period is a full sentence. So you don't really have to explain why you have this standard. People just need to know this is the standard that you live by. And they need to see you walk that thing out, not just talking about it, but actually walking it out, living the way that you say you live. And then there, any questions that might come up, there's really not a whole lot of explaining that you need to do. You just say that doesn't work for me. That's not who I am. That's not how I conduct my life. And then just move on from there. Usually it's the really dysfunctional people that demand explanations. So you don't want to feed that dragon. You don't want to even get involved in that back and forth. Sometimes no, period. Number 2, learn the difference between helping and rescuing. You have to ask yourself, am I helping this person grow, or am I helping them avoid responsibility and accountability? Rescuing creates dependency, but real help empowers people to do better. So you have to ask yourself, which one are you doing? And what are you getting out of rescuing this person? What are you getting out of it? Because there's something that you're getting from it if you keep interjecting yourself to rescue somebody that clearly needs to hit rock bottom. So what are you getting out of it? So you got to ask yourself that question. Number 3, pay attention to your body. Your nervous system often recognizes unsafe dynamics before your mind does. So you got to listen to the voice of God. I'm telling you, God will always warn you when something is off, when something isn't right. If this person exhausts you every time you talk to them, if you get anxious before you have to interact with them, if you feel guilty about not helping them, if you start to dread interactions with them, those are signals that you need to be paying attention to. And the biggest signal of all is the Holy Spirit. And that's where having a solid, consistent prayer life comes in. It's that prayer life that teaches you how to hear God. And when you get to the point where you hear God and you know it's God, and you're gonna move, you're gonna act, then you already know I gotta distance myself from this situation, or I gotta distance myself from this person. Number 4, practice loving people in truth, not in fantasy. A lot of times from loving potential instead of reality. I think sometimes we love the story of the person more than what we're actually looking at in terms of that person's behavior. We're more focused on who they could be, but we are completely ignoring who they are. And who they are might be toxic, and that might be why you self. Love people for who they are today, not who you hope they become someday. I had to get there with Auntie BB. I had to get there in my marriage. I couldn't be more in love with the story of our love and completely ignoring the reality of our love. I had to come out of La La Land, Lady T, and come on back down to earth and start dealing with what was going on. Number 5, pray for discernment, not just endurance. A lot of people pray, Lord, help me tolerate this. But instead, we need to be praying, Lord, show me how to respond to this wisely. Because it may not be good for my mental and physical health to continue to tolerate this. It might be time for me to step away. Not every difficult relationship is assigned to your life by God. I never told God I was in the running for being the long-suffering wife of the year. That wasn't my request. But that's just an assignment that I took on myself because I didn't know that I could ask for something different. I didn't know that I deserved something different. I didn't know that I deserved something better. So you don't have to be anybody's doormat just because you are a woman of faith. That's not what that means. Women of faith have standards that they live by. Women of faith create boundaries for every single relationship they have, from your man to your mama. It doesn't matter who it is. People need to know how to treat you. And you have to be the teacher. And it's not easy, especially certain relationships. It's easy, but it's something that we have to train our children. Our children need to see us respecting ourselves enough to not tolerate disrespect from other people. And that doesn't mean that you are constantly cutting people out of your life.
Uh-oh. I didn't like what she was saying.
It doesn't mean that you are arguing with people. It just means you mean, and our children need to see. That's all I have.
All right. It broke up a little bit at the end.
I know it broke up some at the end.
But it was wonderful.
Did you? I hope you heard the last part.
No, we didn't hear the last part. No, the last part we didn't hear. Repeat the last part.
So the last part I said is that our children need. Our children need to see us set a standard for our lives so they know how to do it. So they know that their friends can't treat them any kind of way. Their friends can't speak to them any kind of way. You're not going to go along to get along. We are the first example that our children see in all things. So it's not enough for them to know, oh, don't steal, don't be bad. They need to see us lift up a standard for our lives that is steeped in the word of God. So it's really important that we show them that example, that you don't have to go along to get along. You can have a standard for your own life as a child. Your friends need to know, oh, no, you're not going to tear up my toys when you come over here. No, you're not going to break my crayons when you come over here. I respect my things. And so you are going to respect my things, or you cannot play with my things. Little simple things like that. That's how we teach our children to have boundaries in their relationships and in their
relationships. I loved it, Sandy.
Yes,
absolutely.
So Sandy, can you tell everybody where they can find you, all of your platforms, all of your social media as well?
Yeah, so you can find me. My Instagram handle is right there on the screen at the Girl Talk Sunday Podcast. I'm also on Instagram at the Sandy Best Life Jones, and I am on YouTube, Best Life TV, and on Facebook, Sandy Best Life Jones.
We'll check you out, definitely.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Rodney, would you like to have any last words? Words of encouragement?
Last words of encouragement. I don't. I mean, like I said, I'll just say the ones that I've been saying before. The things that every day I have my mantras as I go through my day. And right now, my mantras this week is, like I told you, I'm not turning my minors into majors, and that it's easy to follow a man. It's easy for a woman to follow a man who's following God.
There you go. As a leader.
Yep.
As a follower.
Amen.
All right, guys. That is about it for us this weekend. Rodney, I love you, brother. Lady T,
Good.
love you.
Yes.
Sandy, it was wonderful.
Yes.
Listen, you definitely blessed us with your presence, words of encouragement, just
Thank you.
those words of gratitude. Listen, it was definitely something that somebody will be encouraged by, and as well as build up on their relationship with God. So we know that it's powerful. And so with that being said, guys, we'll see you guys next week. Be blessed. Enjoy your weekend. We love you. Peace.